Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon for most of us now. Welcome to day 2 of Career Bootcamp. Some of you may have been with us earlier this week for day 1. If so, welcome back. For those of you who are just joining today, welcome. We hope this is a great experience for you. During this year's Career Bootcamp 2026, you will explore how to turn challenges into stepping stones for growth, both personally and professionally. Please note that this session will be offered in English and French simultaneously. This is the English session, of course. To view the French session, you can return to the Zoom main lobby and you'll see an option to join the French session. Afin de visionner la session en français, veuillez retourner au lobby et cliquer sur le lien pour la session française. I would like to start off by acknowledging that I'm here on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. The Algonquin people have lived on this land since time immemorial, and I encourage all of you to acknowledge the land you're on as well. A meaningful land acknowledgement goes beyond words and must be accompanied by a commitment to tangible actions towards truth and reconciliation. Please take a few moments to find examples after the session or at your leisure through the link that will be shared in the chat. I am joining you from Ottawa, very sunny here today. Finally, we have some sun, but very snowy and super, super cold. It's going to be minus 30, feels like minus 30 this weekend. So hope everyone stays warm and cozy. We're excited to share that Career Bootcamp is the largest conference in the GC, and our main goal is to support you in your career journey. As we move through today's session, please share your questions by using the Q&A button in the language of your choice. You can vote for questions by clicking on the thumbs up. So there's a thumbs up button. Feel free to read the questions that come before yours to make sure that you're not asking a similar question or the same question. The way it will work as we will read out the questions with the most votes, the top voted questions. So feel free to like those that you want to see asked, as those will be asked first. As with all Fin sessions, this session will be recorded, so you can refer to the materials and the resources after the fact. Maybe if you missed a session earlier this week and you want to catch up at a later time when you're going for a walk or taking transit, you can check that out through our YouTube page and our Spotify. In addition to the recordings on our YouTube channel, we're also offering another way to learn. Again, this year, we'll be hosting our Spotify podcast. So you can also check it out that way as well. Many ways to learn and continue your career journey. We'd also like to note that the PowerPoint presentations are uploaded on the wiki page, so you can find those there and follow along as you see fit. Also, they are there indefinitely and for you to refer to afterwards. Wonderful. It's very important to mention that this session includes a variety of discussion topics, vocabulary, and scenarios, and some of them may be distressing. Very much so given the times that we're in. A lot of people are going through challenging times, and we don't want to shy away from that. Please feel free to take a break if you need to, take a deep breath, do a stretch, whatever you need. If you do need support, remember that your organization's EAP, so Employees Assistance Program, is available 24/7 and have a lot of great support and resources for you. We are all going through a challenging time, no matter what we're facing, whether it's WFA directly or indirectly, or have colleagues that are going through something challenging. So let's be patient with each other, and we are here for you. So I would like to now introduce myself. I'm Justine. I will be your moderator for today. So my role is to ensure that we have fun, learn a lot, and get us through as many questions as we can to help you all out. I am Senior Advisor with the Federal Youth Network. I've been with the Fin team for coming up to 2.5 years now. Time flies. I absolutely love my role on the Fin team and all that the Fin team is responsible for. One of the things as part of my role is the mentorship community of practice. So very fitting that I'm the moderator for today's session. I absolutely love and am super passionate about mentorship. The Interdepartmental Mentorship Community of Practice is a place that brings together folks across the GC working on mentorship files. to not recreate the wheel, to share resources with each other, share successes and lessons learned with those who are also working on mentorship programs. The second part of what we do is offer great resources and mentorship opportunities to employees like you and give mentors an opportunity to mentee folks and employees. So more to come on that. There'll be lots of resources that are available to you to check out. But feel free to reach out to me anytime on anything related to mentorship. Wonderful. So now we're going to go over to some quick polling questions. You'll see them pop up on your screen. Please take a moment to look through them. It's not a test, not mandatory, but we'd love to hear from you so that we can really shape the session today and figure out where you stand with the topics. So the first question, which of these do you feel most confident explaining to someone? Mentorship, coaching, sponsorship, none of the above. For me, I know the answer is mentorship. Second question, do you feel confident and have the tools you need in order to approach a mentor, coach, or sponsor for a career conversation or to establish an ongoing relationship? And then last question, what is your biggest barrier to initiating a coaching or mentorship relationship? And then there's a few options. Sorry, there's 4 questions. The last one is, what do you think is the most important responsibility of a mentor? That's a good one. Thank you so much. Let's take a quick look at the results here. So for question 1, which of these do you feel most confident explaining in terms of the terms? Many of you said none of the above. So thank you for joining today. I hope you'll be able to at the end of the session. And then mentorship is second. So I think that's something we're very familiar with across the GC. And I'm thankful for that. But we'll delve into what sponsorship and coaching is today and what the differences are. Do you feel confident and have the tools you need to approach someone for one of these relationships? No, majority said no. So 45% said no, and some are not unsure. Some are not sure, and some of you said yes. What's your biggest barrier to initiating this type of a relationship? Not knowing who to approach is the most common response. That's fair. We just had a session on networking, and a lot of those same themes came up there, not knowing who to talk to, who to go to, whether cold calling is important. So we'll jump into some of these topics. And then lastly, what do you think is the most important responsibility of a mentor? Top voted answer was listening and providing guidance. Amazing. Okay, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Let's now jump into the learning objectives. So they're on the screen here, but we'll go through them. Objective 1, understand the unique roles coaching, mentorship, and sponsorship have in career development. So why is it important for us in our career? Identify how each approach can support personal and professional growth within the public service. Explore how to access or initiate coaching, mentoring, and sponsorship relationships. And lastly, recognize the benefits and responsibilities of being a coach, mentor, or sponsor. Perfect. Now, without further ado, we will introduce our lovely panelists that we have with us today. They are both superstars when it comes to coaching, mentorship, and sponsorship, and have been lovely to work with. First, we have up Alicia. Alicia is a project manager at the Canada School of Public Service. Alicia has worked in several roles throughout her time so far in the GC. In 2016, she became a manager and has held several positions within the IRB, so Immigration Refugee Board of Canada. In 2014, she was appointed as IRB's champion for Black employees and was one of the founders of the Black Employee Network there. In February 2025, she joined Canada School of Public Service on secondment to lead the team that is developing the Leadership Development Program for Black managers and supervisors. Great accomplishments. Next up, we have Jennifer. Welcome to Jennifer. Jennifer is a senior human resource analyst in the Leadership and Learning Directorate of HR of the HR Human Resources branch at Canada Revenue Agency. Jennifer has worked in human resources for many years and has acquired experience and knowledge in several HR disciplines. She's currently responsible for coaching, mentorship, and leadership development. She's very active in helping others learn from the success that she's had with her mentorship programs at CRA and elsewhere. Perfect. So now we're going to jump into the content. We have lots to get through today, so I hope you will turn your listening ears on and engage in the conversation. First off, we're going to pass it over to Alicia to get us started.
Good afternoon, wherever you are in the country. Thank you for that introduction, Justine. Yes, it is my pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. I'm in my 26th year in the federal public service, so I grew up in the government. And so now it is my pleasure to be able to share those experiences and hopefully shorten your learning curve around how you manage your own career. In addition to being a manager at CSPS, I'm also a facilitator of many of the school's courses, including the coaching courses, and a certified coach myself. And certainly the work that I'm doing at the school really does feel very meaningful to me beyond it being vocational. So when we talk about coaching, mentoring, and sponsorship, it's important to understand what we're talking about. So when we're talking about coaching, we are talking about the practice of helping people to develop skills, habits, and mindsets, problem solving, strategy creation. The coach and coachee are united in the coachee's objectives, seeking to help the coachee find the thing that they want. And so, it starts with the founding principle that you have many of the answers to your own problems or your own challenges. And so coaching is a practice that helps you to find them within yourself. Also because psychologically speaking, you're more likely to commit to doing the work to develop those skills. If it is something that you have come up with yourself, your coach is the person who will hold you accountable, and help you to also refine your approach as you go along. This relationship can be short term, it can be a long term. I have a coach, and I've been with him for 3 years because I have big dreams, that some of which scare me. And so he helps me to really develop my mindset around overcoming or doing those things, notwithstanding the fear that I may experience. And so, it can be a paid, someone that you pay. It can be something that is unpaid. And here in the government, we have groups like the National Managers Community that does peer coaching circles for managers. And also many departments have now set up peer coaching circles internally. And the school, as I mentioned, does have a number of courses that not only help you to understand the coaching practice, but also set up those peer coaching groups if there is an appetite to be able to do that. When we talk about mentorship, we're talking about having a guide, right? Someone who will help you to shorten that learning curve by being able to ask someone who has walked the path that you're looking to walk, and can help you to get there without having to necessarily have experienced all the pitfalls that person may have had to experience. That's usually short term because you really want to develop a relationship with your mentor. And it really is about building relationships. And, because the mentor is there to share their experiences, there to offer advice, and to help you navigate organizational culture, which is not always easy. And oftentimes you don't know what you don't know. And so having somebody that you can turn to help to guide you is always beneficial. And within the Government of Canada, we have programs like Mentorship Plus. And again, many departments have mentorship programs. We heard Justine speak about what Finn offers. But this can also be a very informal arrangement. You meet somebody either through their LinkedIn or other social media. You meet them at a networking event, someone who you meet within your own department, who really seems to embody and to align with the career path that you're on. And so that's where you want to develop that relationship, have those coffee chats, and start to really invest in getting to know them and have them get to know you, and see where you can benefit from their guidance and support. When we talk about sponsorship, your sponsor is your advocate. That's the person that speaks your name in rooms that you're not in, who will give you the heads up on opportunities that maybe are not necessarily advertised. They, if it's someone within your organization who might bring you into high visibility projects or into meetings that will give you the opportunity to shine. And they are invested in your growth and advancement. And so again, this can be something that's formalized, but often that it can be informal also. And really, you want to have if you're able, build that with your supervisor through your performance conversations, through your ongoing conversations. Because if you have the type of supervisor who can do that for you, then that helps. Most people, I would say, ascend the ranks within the federal public service through the help of one or more of these strategies. And I know that for myself, it's happened even without my even realizing that it was happening before I ever had the language to talk about it. And so I know that I myself am super grateful to each coach, mentor, and sponsor that has ever crossed my path. And because of my own sense of curiosity, have really become comfortable like asking. Because what's the worst that people will say, right? So I encourage you to really develop that curiosity, and take that first step to send that message to find your coach, your mentor, your sponsor, whatever it is that you need, depending on where you are, perhaps all three. Over to you, Jennifer.
Thanks, Elisa. It was a good introduction to coaching, mentoring, and sponsorship for sure. So I hope everybody can see me because I cannot see myself. I'm using my phone. I apologize. Technology is not really my friend today. Okay, so I see some thumbs, so that's awesome. Great, great. Okay, so how can each approach support your personal professional growth? Well, all three, coaching, mentoring, and sponsorship, are very valuable developmental tools. Okay, so in order to support future leaders, these can facilitate knowledge transfer. So they help to build that bridge or that gap between experienced public servants and maybe new hires or less experienced individuals, so that they can transfer that corporate knowledge, the culture, the values, best practices, all of those kinds of things, so that maybe you don't have to go through the growing pains that someone else did early in their career, right? You can learn from them. They also really help with leadership development because you're fostering those leadership skills like decision making, critical thinking, emotional intelligence. Your mentors or your sponsors, they can offer real life insights and solutions and guidance that can be personalized towards your particular situation. They also can assist with succession planning, right? By helping prepare our future leaders to take on those critical roles in the government so that when the time comes, they are capable, informed, they have the knowledge, the skills that are needed to assume those critical positions. And with the cultural alignment, this is often a good thing for new public servants, right? Having a mentor can help you to integrate into the organization. A mentor can help you to understand the government's mission, their vision. Where do you fit in this whole big machine of government, right? And how can you contribute in a meaningful kind of way? Um, Coaching, mentoring, and sponsorship can also help with career progression and retention. So, notably career advancement, right? Mentoring provides mentees with that career advice, help them navigate some career paths, how to understand organizational structures, protocols, those kind of unwritten rules and things like that, and access any opportunities for growth. I know the previous session was all about networking, right? However, coaches, mentors, even sponsors can all become part of your broader professional network, right? Sponsors can help maybe introduce you to some people who are influential, that have resources, things like that as well. Mentors, even when you're finished with a mentoring relationship, you often would stay in touch with your mentor and become a part of each other's networks. Skill development. Coaching is really useful for this to help acquire and refine both technical skills, but also interpersonal skills that are very important for career progression. And job satisfaction and retention increase by participating in these things. So employee engagement, satisfaction, these lead to greater retention, right? And not just for the mentees or coachees, also for the mentors, for the sponsors. Most of the ones I've worked with over the years report feeling much more connected with the organization, and they really value having that opportunity to give back and help develop that next generation. So all very valuable development tools, but which one you want to take advantage of at which point in time really depends on where you're at in your career and where you want to go. So it is important to take some time and think that through so that you can take advantage of the best development method for you at that time. Back over to you, Alicia.
Thank you. So, building on what Jennifer just said and thinking about how to access coaching, sponsorship, and mentorship, it is super important to understand when to access each. With coaching, right, we're developing skills, mindsets, and habits. And so you would consider using a coach when you need support with those specific goals and problem solving. When you're just kind of beating your head against the wall, trying to figure out why certain things are not working, right? The duration of that relationship really is determined by you, because ultimately, as I said, you and your coach are both united in trying to help you to achieve whatever objective that you set. Like I said, I've had my coach for 3 years. And before him, I had another coach for a number of years. And so, I'm a person with big dreams. There's lots that I want to do within and beyond my career at the Federal Public Service. And so having that person who will not let me get away with playing small is important. And so, you are ultimately the one who drives the direction of that coaching relationship. And your coach will be with you along the way for as long as you need them to be. With respect to sponsorship, as mentioned, that person is your advocate. So again, the question to ask yourself is, are you ready to make that next step? Have you gotten all the skills that you need to get? Have you adapted the mindset that you need to adapt? Do you have habits that will help to support your success? And once you do that, you have those things, then the next thing is, okay, what is the thing that you're seeking to move into? And who is the person that can help you get there? Right. And that's relevant both with sponsorship and mentorship, but particularly with sponsorship when you know that you're ready to make that next step. And so, that's because that's the person that's going to give you visibility. And is the person who's going to, as I said, speak your name in rooms that you aren't in and likely don't have access to. And when we talk about mentorship, it's really about having identified where you're going. Have you done the work to identify where you want to go? And so that you can clearly identify the person who can help you get there. Because this is time for the people who you're seeking assistance from. And so you want to make sure that you're not approaching someone before you're ready. Or if you are, perhaps it's a mentorship relationship you need to have initially to help you get ready so that you can then either turn that mentorship relationship into sponsorship or then take the step of looking for that sponsorship relationship. Over to you, Jennifer. Next slide.
All right. So you might be asking yourself, where do I find these opportunities, right? Where do I find a mentor or coach or a sponsor? So let's talk a little bit about mentorship first. The GC Mentor Interdepartmental Community of Practice. This is under the branch of the Federal Youth Network. So it's a place for individuals to connect with others who are working on mentoring files and connect, collaborate, share practices, all of these kinds of things. Justine touched on it a little bit in her intro. I'm also a member of the community of practice. So we have some really great chats about what all of our different departments are doing with regards to mentoring. There's also a GC exchange group. You can go on there. They have a mentor living library. You can potentially find a mentor there. There's also GC like informal or unofficial mentorship pages on Facebook. There may be some on LinkedIn. Like there's a bunch of different ways to kind of find someone to be your mentor. And to prepare yourself for these types of opportunities, it is important that you consistently perform in your role and meet your expectations, even exceed them if you can, because your work will speak for you. Right? Communicate your ambitions. What are those big dreams that you have? What are your career goals? No one can really help you to achieve those things if you don't let them know what they are, right? So talk to your managers, let them know where you want to go, how you want to grow. Follow up with a value as well. So keep them informed of some of your wins, right? And show appreciation for their support and their advocacy. So you can tell them they may not notice everything that everyone on their team does, because managers are busy people, right? But you can take the time to tell them, hey, I did this presentation to this group of people and it went super well. And, they will keep those things in the back of their mind and be able to support you if you want to go down a particular path. Build visibility. Right? If you want to advance in your career, you can also volunteer for certain initiatives, community work, micro missions. I always tell people get involved in the Government of Canada charitable campaign. That's a great place to volunteer. You can lead projects, special events, things like that. It's for a great cause. Or get involved in some of these communities of practice that exist across the government, across all types of career disciplines. They are out there, so seek them out and get involved and try to make some strategic relationships, right? Connect with people in your field or those who might be able to give you advice. Build those authentic relationships with others, regardless of their position or level. And I'm sure Alicia can attest to this too, but it might seem like the government is actually a big machine, but at other times it seems like it's a small town, and you find ways that you run across each other's paths often. So you never know, somebody who's at your level now may be the next ADM down the road. So make those connections and nurture those connections with people. It's easier to do now that we have all of this great technology. And ask for feedback. Even if you're not getting it from your management, ask a colleague, ask a friend, things like that. Even a client sometimes can give you some great feedback, right? What else do I want to say about this stuff? We talked about LinkedIn. There's the Mentorship Plus program that exists in a lot of different departments and supports career progression, mentorship opportunities, especially for employees from equity seeking groups. So those can help with your determining career aspirations, things like that. There's also an initiative that's been around for a couple of years called Lifting as You Lead Mentoring Circles. These are really great. They were started in D&D about 5 years ago, and you form a circle of people that you meet with on a monthly basis to discuss different types of issues, share your experiences. It's a really great experience. I did participate in the 2024 cohort, and I very much enjoyed it. Mentoring does seem to be more prevalent in many departments than coaching or sponsorship, but you never know. Maybe your organization does offer some coaching, either formally or informally. Often they call these things peer coaching, buddy systems, things like that. And departments also have sponsorship programs. So I really encourage you to explore what's out there and what's available to you. Look on your intranet for your department, on GC community pages, and everywhere that you can think of. Find out what exists and what's available. Back over to you, Alicia.
Thank you. So when we talk about the benefits and responsibilities of mentoring, coaching, and sponsorship, um, you know, the possibilities really are endless. But some of those are, leadership refinement. So, serving this role allows individuals to refine their own leadership and coaching skills. So, as a person who offers coaching, it always helps me to refine my own coaching skills. Um, Also when I teach the coaching courses, because part of my responsibility as a facilitator of that course is to do a live coaching demonstration with one of the participants, not having ever met them before or having no idea what issue they're going to be bringing to discuss. It's definitely personally fulfilling for the coach, the mentor, the sponsor, because it allows you the opportunity to help somebody else to achieve their goals. And certainly that is personally fulfilling. I think that we each have this like deep-seated desire to help others. And so that this is one small way that we can do so. And also continuous learning. Like I always learn from the people that I'm coaching, the people that I'm mentoring, the people that I may be sponsoring. Because of course, like no one person is an island, and we all come to the workplace with different experiences. And so it's just another way that we can build connection with each other. I went to a workshop a long time ago where, the person was talking about networking, but what he said was the the way that it's supposed to go is that you're supposed to have your hand outstretched, holding the hand of the person who's leading you, and have an arm back, holding the hand of the person that you're leading. And when that happens, there's magic that happens in humanity when each person is being led and leading at the same time. And leadership is positionless. You do not have to be a manager in order to mentor, to coach, or to sponsor. You just need to be willing to do the role. If you're the mentor, mentoring the person who is trying to get to where you are. If you're the coach, being willing to ask those questions to help the person that you're speaking to develop whatever skill, whatever mindset, whatever habit will help to support them in their growth. And often, on the slide, it talks about using structured techniques to build self-awareness. Oftentimes, through that coaching conversation, which is one of asking questions, people do enhance their own self-awareness and really come to understand it, to gain clarity, because clarity is key for all of these techniques and these relationships, about who they are, what they're about, what's special about them, what they have to offer the world, what it is that they really want to do, how they want to help people. And the coaching relationship, like that's kind of the magic of the coaching conversation, is that you say the thing that's not being said, right? Like I always know that I've had a really good coaching conversation. Like if you can't tell, I love all three of these, but I'm super passionate about coaching because I know that I've had a really good coaching conversation if it brings up some form of emotion. It doesn't matter what emotion it is. It could be anger, it could be tears, it could be anything. And if the person really has to stop and think and reflect, silence is your best friend in a coaching conversation. And the person walks away feeling lighter than they were when the conversation started. Because we get bogged down by our problems, we get bogged down by our confusion. And so a coaching conversation is super effective as it relates to being able to build clarity when it seems like we have no idea what that next thing is going to be, or no idea what just like the first step is that we need to take. Because really, everything starts with the first step. And then, with as a sponsor, it feels good to advocate for people and see them to get the thing that they really want. And see that what you see in that person, the potential that you see in that person, other people see in it. And being able to open doors and to create opportunities for people to grow, right? Like that is super rewarding as a sponsor. And so that is all to say that, all of these techniques and practices, they each have their place, and the benefit, it's a giver's gain. The benefit goes two ways. It's a benefit, yes, for the mentee, for the coachee, for the sponsoree, but it's also a benefit for the mentor, the coach, and the sponsor. And I think now we're at questions.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Alicia and Jennifer. Lots of good information to unpack. Something I was reflecting on when you were discussing was that there's both informal and formal relationships that can be made. So I'm sure a lot of us are thinking, oh, how do I do this? I need to get an agreement with someone that they're my mentor or coach, but it can be very informal too. And you may have already established some of these relationships that you don't necessarily label as a mentor or a sponsor, but they might be. So I encourage you to think about that a little bit more. We have lots of questions. Let's go right into it. One of the most upvoted questions, or the most upvoted question, I will start with this. Jennifer, Alicia, whoever feels like answering can come off mute and answer, and then the other is welcome to contribute as well. So the question is, how do you gain a mentor and ask for it? And how many times should you reach out to them? And then secondly, what agenda items do you bring to the table during these meetings?
Okay. Do you want me to go first, Alicia? Is that okay?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Well, I think the first part of that question was how do you reach out and how many times do you approach someone, right? So you can certainly reach out by email, by message, if the person's on LinkedIn, send them a DM, Facebook, things like that, right? That's often easier for people than just cold calling someone. So I would suggest doing that. Reach out, let them know, hey, I found your information on whatever, GC Mentor, LinkedIn, whatever. These are my career aspirations. I see that you've been there or you've worked in this department or whatever the case may be. And I'd like to have a short chat with you to see if maybe a mentoring relationship might be a good way to go. So I would just put it out there. It can be a little bit scary, I think, to reach out to people, but if they are already registered like as a mentor in a departmental mentoring initiative or on GC Connects or something like that. They've done that because they want to be contacted, right? So hopefully that takes away a little bit of the fear around that. That said, I wouldn't bang down their door like 10 times. If you sent them one or two emails, they haven't got back to you, maybe they're really busy, maybe it's gone to junk mail, who knows. But I would try doing it a couple of times. If you don't get any response, that's really unfortunate, but move on to somebody else. Anything to add there, Alicia?
Yeah, I think that it's really important. Like, I love what you said, Jennifer, and I just want to re-emphasize that it's really important to not show up as just wanting to use the person. So curiosity is important. Really taking an interest in them is important. And when it comes to the agenda items that you want to bring to it, I would say this is not, unless it's a formal mentorship program, this is not a formal meeting type, especially the first time. It's a hi, I'd like to get to know you. Can you tell me more about your career, some of the things that you've experienced, and them getting to know you and where you are, like especially the first chat. It really is a getting to know you. At the same time, it's important for you to know what your ask is at that meeting, because there's nothing more awkward. I'll tell you how one conversation went. What somebody contacted me, it was like they heard my name from somebody else, and they contacted me and asked me for mentorship. I never say no to the request, even if the request is kind of poorly written. But I got on the call with the person, and my first question is always, how can I help? Right? Mm-hmm. And so the person had no answer. And so, having an answer to that question, knowing what it was that made you reach out to them in the first place is super important, because that helps to build the lines of communication. It helps the person to see themselves in your journey as someone who can help you. And if I don't see myself as the right person for you, that's going to be the last time we speak, regardless of what you see on my LinkedIn, regardless of what you hear me speaking about at an event like this. if in
Mhm.
that conversation it is not clear to me that we should be speaking again, we probably are not going to speak again. The next time you see me probably will be at another event. So making
Mhm.
sure that you have the answer to that question is also important, because you want to know where you want to go after that conversation is over.
Absolutely. That's a great one. It can take a little bit of soul searching and, thinking about things before you reach out to a mentor. So a little bit of preemptive work there can go a long way.
Thank you. Something I'll add is preparing discussion questions ahead of time. So often we see that with speed mentoring. That's why I thought of it right away. We just did our speed mentoring last week, and we had pre-established discussion questions for people to use in case they had a silent moment or something. So encourage you to come up with your own discussion questions, have it in front of you in case there's a quiet moment or you're not sure what to say next. Think of a couple topics to ask them ahead of time, whether it's general career advice or maybe about their personal life and how they got to where they are. Perfect. Let's go to the next question. What if you don't necessarily know which path you want to walk? How to best choose a mentor to guide you if you're not sure where it is you want to go? That kind of relates to Alicia's point about giving it some thought ahead of time. What do you need help with? Where do you want to go? But what if we don't know the answer? I think a lot of us are in that place. What if we don't know our next 5 years or what have you? Any advice on that?
Yeah. So I would say that when that is your question, most of the time your path is toward coaching, because it's that soul searching exercise of figuring out what it is that you enjoy doing, what you value, what kind of life you want to have, how you're going to build that life, what some of the pathways are that can help you to sort of identify sort of who the person is or what type of work that they do that will help you to determine who you're going to reach out to for mentorship. That being said, perhaps that is the question that you're asking, right? So, I mean, there are many people who, you may encounter on LinkedIn or whatever who talk about leadership, et cetera, et cetera. And so even if it's a mentorship conversation that you seek, yeah, like that, like let that be your question, right? Like there's nothing wrong with your opening question being, listen, this is where I am. This is what I studied. This is my current situation. I'm kind of lost. I don't really know what the next thing will be for me. Um, and the conversation oftentimes will naturally develop from there, because many of us, I would say, were in that place where, like when I started in the government, I had no concept of working in the government. So I just kind of fell into working for the government. And so when I say that I moved around, I'm not joking. That first, particularly 8 years of my career, I was changing jobs like every year on average, and at least. And so, and I was applying for everything, and so it was not, and so I have no regrets now, even though I had no idea what I was doing at the time. And so, so all that is to say that it's okay to reach out to someone to say, I'm confused.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And that may be the answer to that first question, right? Is I don't really know where I want to go. I need somebody who can help to guide me or help me to think about things, point me towards where opportunities might exist, career
Yeah.
paths, etc. Yeah, for sure. I totally agree, Alicia.
Okay, thanks for that insight. Let's move on to the next one. What strategies can help ensure that mentorship, coaching, and sponsorship opportunities are accessible to all employees, not just those who are well connected or volunteer lots of their time?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good question. And honestly, I think a lot of that kind of depends on where you are. There's many departments that have these types of programs, and there's some that don't, right? In my department in CRA, we have a mentoring program that anybody can be a part of. So I think that goes a long way towards accessibility, inclusion, things like that. In other places, it's maybe more like word of mouth or things like that. But you really need to look at what is in existence, right? See what's out there first and go from there to try to find what's going to work for you. I wish I could say we had like one big government of Canada, huge mentor bank, but we don't right now. Maybe in the future, right?
My answer to this question might be unpopular. I think that the accessibility to coaching, mentorship, and sponsorship has a lot to do with you. Because you, first of all, have to do the work. You have to become the type of person that somebody wants to sponsor. You have to be the person that somebody wants to mentor. And you have to initiate and ask for the coaching conversation. And as long as people aren't doing that, and then it makes it difficult for that equity that we're talking about. What's more important, I think, is making sure that people have the knowledge and the skills to self-advocate. Because as long as people have the skills to self-advocate, they're encouraged to do it. They understand that they are the masters of their own career. And that, at the end of the day, you also have to, be excelling in the job that you're doing, whether you like it or not. I did not like every job that I had. My barometer of how much I enjoyed my job was always how often I called in sick, how much sick leave I had. Because when I hated my job, I suffered with migraines because I was so unhappy. But there also came a point where I was like, okay, I need to figure this out because I'm not going to get out of this unless I create a pathway for myself out of this. And so showing up every day and putting your best foot forward, having, a high standard for yourself in terms of the quality of your work, talking to people, right? Like just staying in your corner is never going to cut it, right? You must get out there and talk to people, and allow yourself to be seen. I am not naturally extroverted. I am an introvert, regardless of what is the perception. And so, I recognize that it was necessary for me to get out there and put myself in front of people who could see the value of what I had to offer. And so, to me, it really is about making sure that people know that those steps are necessary, as opposed to the department having to, and also like departments continuing to create opportunities, of course, right? But it's not just on the department to make sure that everybody has access to it. A lot of the work has to be done by you.
Yeah, totally agree with that. It's how successful you are with really any type of development is based on your own initiative, right? Your own willingness to learn and to grow and to do different things, get out of your comfort zone, all of those types of things. And I really liked your point about learn your job and do it well. Even if you're not loving it, that's okay. But if you're not going to put the effort in to do a good job, there will be fewer opportunities for you down the road.
And you're more likely to meet like, the question is about not having the vast network or knowing the right people. You're more likely to meet the right people if you're putting yourself out there. You're going to meet nobody if you just are keeping your head down and working. So, there's that. Because
Thank
they're
you.
not coming to find you.
Yeah, it's up to you. The ball's in your court. And there are some really strong mentorship programs like at CRA that Jennifer leads. Unfortunately, not all departments have those opportunities and formal opportunities, so we have to look for them ourselves. But the GC Mentorship Facebook page is a wonderful way to do that. Connect with people. There's mentors and mentees on there. Ask your mentorship questions. And then the Living Library, I encourage you to check out the Mentorship Living Library. There's a whole literal library of mentors. So check those out, and you have access to it. You're an employee in the GC, you have access to it no matter who you are and where you are in your career. We're losing time. This is horrible. Let's do one more question really quickly.
Okay.
The next one is, how do we get support from our management to have this type of relationship if it's not supported, and if core priorities seem to be the reasoning for not being able to take part in these types of opportunities?
Do you want to go first, Alicia, or do you want me to?
Well, I mean, we all have PMA conversations, and so I would say that's a great place to start, because really and truly every manager has a responsibility to take an interest in the talent development of their employees. And so I think that's a great place to start. I think that, when you look at the courses available at CSPS, they don't cost anything. So, that's where you can make a case for yourself as it relates to being able to access opportunities. And then the other thing I would say is that this is where informal mentorship and coaching become super important, because, you guys are actually in the federal public service at like the best time. These conversations were not happening when I started in 2000. And so the fact that there is a federal youth network, that this is a session in the career boot camp, that there is the boot camp that's been going on for a number of years, and that there are things like speed mentoring, it kind of means that you have no excuse notwithstanding your manager support.
Yeah, very, very true. I started around the same time that you did, Alicia, and we were not having these conversations. Back then, speed mentoring was not a thing. So, yeah, I would also argue that, mentoring and coaching are not just for career development. They can actually help you to learn and to become more successful in your current role. Right?
Yes.
And what manager would not want their employee to be more successful in their current role? And as you said, there's no cost for courses from CSPS. Most of the time, there's also no cost for mentoring, for coaching. Your salaries are already being paid, right? So the only real cost might be a little bit of time away from your core duties. And if that is really an issue with your manager, then I think you need to be open to having some mentorship sessions outside of working hours. So meet up during lunchtime, maybe have a quick coffee chat with someone over a break, or even take a little bit of time after work, right? So, you can advocate for yourself and try to make the case of this being good for your current role, not only your career development. But if it comes down to it, you might have to make the time on your own.
Thank you both very much. We are out of time. Really sad to say, truly. Thank you so much, everyone, for your contributions and your interest in our content here today. We will do one quick polling question, one last polling question. It is optional. Please take a moment to do that if you don't mind. We thank you again for being here. Alicia, Jennifer, was truly fun working with you. Your wealth of knowledge, and I know we'll continue working together in the mentorship, coaching, and sponsorship space. For those of you who are interested, we have more sessions on Tuesday next week. Really looking forward to that. next week, Tuesday, the themes are psychological safety and preventing burnout. So we're going to switch topics, move into something that I know a lot of us really need right now. As we talked about before, a lot of us going through hard times. So I think the Tuesday sessions will really equip us with what we need to know and set ourselves up for success into the future. And encourage you to continue building your mentorship relationships. It's needed now more than ever, I could argue, and sure many of us could argue. So feel free to connect with us if you have any more questions or want to chat further on mentorship. But best of luck to all of you in your career journeys. Best of luck to you through the next year or so, through challenging times. We're here for you and thinking of you, and best wishes to everyone. Thank you.